Once again, I am here to ask you, what time is it? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Adventure Time. And this is specifically Adventure Time Distant Lands Episode 1 out of 4. But these episodes are like quadruple length. Normally Adventure Time episodes about 11 minutes. These episodes are 44 minutes long. So it's like the length of 4 regular Adventure Time episodes, which basically means these 4 episodes are worth 16 episodes of like the normal show. But it has not been a long time since we finished the main series. We finished Adventure Time back at the end of August. It is now the end of October. So it's only been about 2 months. And the reason we got back to this a lot quicker than we would have otherwise is because of a poll. You guys voted on this. You guys wanted to see this be the new Monday series taking over for Togananki for the moment because Togananki was hurting my feelings and just making me really fucking depressed. So yeah, we took our break. We're taking our break from that, and we are replacing that for the time being with what you guys voted on, which is this. Which, mind you, that poll was kind of like always going to be one-sided. And I knew that going in, but I wanted to give you guys the vote anyway. I honestly, I'm surprised DuckTales didn't get more votes than it did, but, you know, oh well. So, other than knowing about the length of this, I don't know too much about Distant Lands. I know that Marceline and Bonnie are featured notably in it, and I believe, and I'm not 100% about this, but I do believe it is a direct follow-up. I believe it directly follows up the conclusion of the main series, so it's not like, oh, this takes place at some random point during the main series. No, I believe it is a direct sequel. As to what that means, I don't know. Because, you know, we kind of fought a god at the end of the main series. Well, fought is a strong word there. But after the war with Gumball and everything, and, you know, Glob or whatever the fuck its name was, and Betty sacrificing herself to merge with it, it's like, where do you go from there? Now, these are called Distant Lands, obviously referencing the song. So, I assume we're going to be going to Distant Lands. I assume it's going to be like an adventure time story where our characters are going to be like exploring a little bit. That would be pretty interesting. It could lead to some really unique circumstances and sequences. I definitely could see a lot of potential in this. But again, I don't know what to expect. Because with each episode being about 44 minutes long or so, it's like, that's a good amount of time to tell a story. Are these going to be like fully connected? Are they going to be their own things? I don't know. I don't know if it's one consistent story or if it's like kind of like 4 mini stories. Like, well, not really mini, but 4 different separate stories. I don't know. I do know that this was a Max original, or HBO Max, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This didn't originate on Cartoon Network. I don't know if that means anything. I don't know if that means they're going to be able to do more. I mean, probably the only big thing it means is that Bubblegum and Marceline are probably going to, like, you know, kiss more and refer to each other as partners and stuff. That's probably the biggest thing that we can assume. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be like a huge change in like tone necessarily. But yeah, that's kind of the hope I'm getting or going in from this, cuz you know, at the end of the series, at the end of like the main show, they did become a couple again. Like they shared a kiss on the battlefield, and we saw in the like epilogue part they were huddled together under the blanket and being cozy girlfriends, and it was cute. We can't go back on that. um, but yeah, I'm just excited to get to this. And just as a note, because this is only 4 episodes, we will be going straight into Fiona and Cake afterwards. That's why I had both of them listed on the poll. Um, because this is only 4 episodes, even if it's double length, we're going to be going straight into Fiona and Cake after the fact. And I mean double length compared to a normal episode of something we react to, not compared to normal Adventure Time episodes. So be prepared for that. We're more than likely just going to be doing season 1 of Fiona Cake. I know season 2 like just started, I think. But we're more than likely just going to be doing season 1 at the moment. Unless I get really fucking into it, which is possible. I've done that before, like with Centaur World. So who knows? But for now, let's just get into this first episode of Distant Lands and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, from what I'm gathering, based on how this went and everything, I'm thinking that each of these episodes are going to be their own thing. Just like how Adventure Time is normally, like with each episode mostly for the case being its own thing, with like a little bit of connectivity. I think all of the Distant Lands are going to like probably focus on different characters. So I guess this one focuses on BMO. We're going to have one that's going to focus on Marceline and Bubblegum. And otherwise, I don't know. But the reveal at the end that this actually took place years and years in the past, when Finn and Jake were still kids and everything, is fascinating to me. Because I was thinking, like, all of this took place after the events of the main series. But clearly that's not the case. So BMO, I assume, then got the ship that he went up in from the lab he was originally at, right? Where he was made and all. I'm trying to remember everything from that, but like he didn't leave there in a ship, did he? Huh. But either way, he went to space. He ended up finding the drift through Olive, who was, searching for help, met Y5 there, and basically just helped save the drift from Hugo and Mr. M. And when he came back down, he crash landed by the tree house, which is how he eventually ended up meeting Finn and Jake and how he stayed with them and all. So that's very fascinating. Y5 is super fucking likable. Like, she is so just adorable and so, like, just instantly lovable as a character. Her personality being very unsure because of the way her parents have treated her, being very, submissive, for lack of a better word, is very sad, because you, like, really feel bad for her. You really, like, understand how her parents have been mistreating her and basically seeing her as a tool. They've been trying to, like, get their family to a higher position, and because of it, they don't treat their daughter like a daughter. They treat her like a slave almost. And luckily, they are able to see the error of their ways and come around in the end. It kind of reminds me of Odalia from Owl House, except the big difference here being that Odalia didn't come around in the end. Odalia was just a bitch. um, also, both Y5's mom and Odalia are also very thick, so there's a connection there too. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of that because of the way that Odalia and Y5's mom treated their daughters. It was not good. It was not good at all. Um, but again, at least here, Y5 eventually got a loving family because her parents saw the error of their ways and made it right. So that's something at least. I feel bad for Amity in Owl House not getting that, but at least she has her father. At least she has Luz, Ida, and everyone. She has plenty of loved ones, so that's good. But you do feel bad for Amity a little bit at least, not having a loving mother. Ugh. Oh, also you have to count Camila in that. Camila's kind of like a mother figure to her now too. Um, but either way, so yeah, Y5 is instantly likable. I also love the naming thing, like with her parents kind of dead naming her after she chooses to go by Y5. It's like it's obviously not quite the exact same thing, but you could make the comparison to like dead naming and whatnot in terms of a trans person because it's kind of it's a similar idea at least because when a person comes out as trans oftentimes they choose a new name, not always but oftentimes. um for example, like my birth name, my legal name is not Connie, but I chose to go by Connie, and it's the name that I use now. It's my name, even if it's not what's on my like, you know, state ID or whatnot. That is my name. And most people respect that, but there are people who do still dead name me. And it's hard and it's difficult. And again, it's obviously not the exact same situation here because I don't think there's like anything that's supposed to say like Y5 is trans or like even like equivalent of such. But either way, she chose her new name, and pretty much everyone respected that except her parents until the end. At the end, they finally called her by her chosen name, but they were dead naming her before that, which does suck a lot. Um, I was surprised that Hugo ended up being a bad guy. I was thinking like he was a good guy, but Mr. M was the true villain, and Hugo didn't know about it, which is what you're supposed to think, clearly. But then it's the reveal that, oh no, Hugo and Mr. M were entirely in on it the entire time, and Hugo's actually human. Like, not just human, like from Ooh, he's an original human. Hugo was one of the last survivors of the original Earth before it became Ooh. He and some other survivors escaped, and when they met the Greys, the Grey aliens, they used bioengineering to mimic them, basically, becoming the elves. Or whatever the specific exact name was. It was something elves, but they became these elves, and it gave them, like, extended lifespans, clearly. It just changed them on a biological level. And so all the elves that were there, every single one, including the guy that was launched out at the beginning, they were all um, human. And they came to the drift with Hugo. And so Hugo was even abandoning them at the end. Hugo was entirely self serving, just a bad person. And so, yeah, that did surprise me a little. The creativity with the drift itself and the denizens of it and the jungle pod, of course, was great. It definitely had a very different feel from Ooh, even if some of these denizens you could conceivably see on Ooh. Like honestly, I don't remember the name, but the rabbit character, who we see at the very end of the last episode of the main series, the one who kind of becomes, I guess you could say, the new Finn, hundreds or thousands of years later, kind of reminded me of that. Well, Y5 and the other rabbit denizens here kind of reminded me of that. I wonder if there's a connection to that. Because we know BMO is still alive during that time. I wonder if somehow the denizens of the drift were able to come to Ooh. And if, like, Shermie is the name that's coming to my mind. Maybe it was Shermie. The rabbit denizen of Ooh, of, like, again, of that time. I wonder if there was a connection there, a relation there. Because the one that looked like Jake, who was like a princess or something, that one was, she was, like, presumably a descendant of Jake, but again, I think the other one's name is, the rabbit's is Shermie. From what we know, I don't think that's a descendant of Finn in any way. Probably a reincarnation, because we know how all of that works with Finn. Finn, we know of, like, multiple incarnations prior to Finn of the same, like, soul. So it could be that, but it could also, like, physically be a descendant of Y5. That's a really interesting thing to think about. I wonder if other people have questioned that before, and if Pendleton Ward or anyone else working on the series has said anything. But yeah, this was, like, a really, like, just strong episode here, even if it's not going to be connected with anything else. I don't even usually like the BMO episodes. Like, I kind of made a point of that during the main series. It's like a lot of the BMO episodes are just not that interesting to me, but this was very interesting. This was, like, very fascinating in terms of, like, the political structure on the drift and just everything going down. And with that reveal at the end that it did take place all these years earlier, that it was prior to the events of the main series, just entirely changes everything. The revelation that Hugo was an original human. There's just so much here that adds to the world building, universe building of this series, of this franchise. It's just genuinely very fascinating. I really love the animation. It definitely was, like, a big uptick compared to the main series, which is great. Obviously, that's what you want. The voice acting was great, with a lot of great VAs being added into this. Randall Park, as an example. Great sound design and everything. Everything was just great. It was just really good. Um, and honestly, the time, like, I noticed, like, when it was, like, just over 11 minutes, because it felt like it's like, oh, this is where, like, an episode would normally end. And so I looked at the time. It's like, oh yeah, I was right. Um, but other than that, I didn't really look at the time because I wasn't really worried about it. I was just enjoying it. It kind of felt like a special in a way, and that I feel like that's what all of these are going to feel like. Like, you know how there's the multi-part specials with Adventure Time? This kind of feels like that, just, I guess, a little shorter, because those are usually, like, what, 6, 7 episodes. This would only be the equivalent of 4. Um, but that's still pretty cool that this is kind of, like, building into that and all, into that kind of vibe. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was really good. I enjoyed just the kind of dynamics it set up and the big twists and turns. And I would love to hear your thoughts. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of Adventure Time Distant Lands? And as always, no spoilers. Do not tell me anything about what's to come with the other 3 episodes or anything related to Fiona and Cake. No spoilers. That all being said, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. So, see you all next time.